Do we really want a Harry Potter reboot? Like, you seen Fantastic Beasts, that didn't really work out like everyone thought it was. I just think they're rushing things. Like sometimes you gotta let things like die down for years and then try to bring it back. Like we literally, it's only been what 15 years since Harry Potter came out. Do we really need to go ahead and make a reboot to when Harry Potter is only like 30 something right now, or Daniel Radcliffe, whatever? I don't know, but we got to see what this. I'm not really that excited to see a reboot. I mean, I see it's 2025, but still, but let's go. Now, if you are a Harry Potter head, go, if you haven't, go to Universal if you can. I don't know about Universal. It's in California, but I know the one that's in Orlando, Florida. Like, if you're a Harry Potter head, Harry Potter fan, period, you would love it, bro. They got the whole like city lit up. Is sweet. I'm not even that huge of a Harry Potter head, but I'll go there and enjoy just like the artwork, everything, like the details they made. They really went all out for Harry Potter. That's one thing that you should do if you're a big fan. Okay, what is this? That's dope artwork.
Welcome back, everyone. It's
all we got.
A lot of you been asking me to do a video about the Harry Potter reboot trailer they just dropped and the announcement about how they're going to plot out this full reboot series that they're doing. I'll explain what's going on and what it means for the new Harry Potter movies that they also talked about. J.K. Rowling also said they're continuing to do more Harry Potter movies, but set in different parts of the timeline. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes.
See, I wouldn't mind them like going on the timeline, but as far as just rebooting everything, nah.
They only just started working on it, but they're going full steam ahead, and I will do episode videos when it releases. They've been working on this for a long time, trying to lock J.K. Rowling down to a deal. Like, they had to get her to sign on the dotted line. And the important thing is, first, this is meant to be a full-on reboot of the original Harry Potter books, which is a bit of a surprise. Like, we knew they were doing a Harry Potter series. We were just kind of wondering what it would actually be about. But they're rebooting the events of Harry, Hermione, Ron, all the main characters' story that we read during those original books, and they already greenlit the full series for order, which is way beyond what you normally get. This means they ordered beyond just the...
Because they know Harry Potter fans are about to show the hell out. Harry Potter fans are about to be watching this, spamming this. They already know. Different production companies know what will sell before they even start making it. That will sell. Star Wars will sell. Avatar will sell. Stuff like that is going to sell regardless. No matter what they do, it's going to sell.
First episode, like there's no pilot episode or just a first season. Pretty much the entirety of all the original books have been greenlit to episodes. And as part of the deal that it took to get a Harry Potter series about the mainline characters, again, they had to approve a 10-year run for the series, meaning at least 10 seasons. They didn't say exactly how many episodes per season, but it would be about what House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones were, meaning 8 to 10 episodes per season.
Yeah,
every single fan of the books, and there are millions, many millions of us now asking, there aren't 10 books, there are only 7 books, why are there 10 seasons for 7 books? This is because part of J.K. Rowling's deal with Warner Brothers and HBO to get the series going to sign the deal was that they would cover every single thing in all the books without cutting out any plot, which is what happened with the original Harry Potter movies. It's actually happening with Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon right now, too.
No, that's not J.K. J.K. Rowling's a woman, right? I'm tripping. I'm sitting there thinking that's J.K. Rowling's.
Talk about George R. R. Martin, another major author who's getting a lot of stuff cut out of his books to cram it into seasons, is basically what happened with the original Harry Potter movies. If you only watch the original movies with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint, even though they split the events of the last book into 2 movies, they did 8 movies for 7 books, they still wound up cutting a massive amount of stuff out of each book to cram the events of each one into a single movie, with the exception of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And even then, with 2 full movies in about 4.5 hours to do that one book, they still had to cut out a lot of stuff from Deathly Hallows. So the 10 seasons allows them to go full Deathly Hallows for all the books when they need to break the events of some of the larger books into multiple seasons. And it also means they can start working on season 2, season 3, so on much sooner so that there aren't massive breaks between the seasons, which is what just happened with House of the Dragon. HBO waited until like the last possible minute after House of the Dragon season 1 had released and been proven a hit, like everyone loved it. So they're like, great, we'll do all the seasons now. But that means that they couldn't start working on season 2 till way later. And that's why we had to wait 2 years for House of the Dragon season 2. And they don't want that to happen with something like Harry Potter, which they know is going to be crazy popular.
Yeah, when's House of Dragons coming back out? Because that is good. I love House of Dragons. Game of Thrones, anything with that, bro, I'm down for.
Zoom in and enhance on the book chart here. The first 2 books are the shortest by far, so they can probably cover the events of Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets completely in season 1 and season 2. Prisoner of Azkaban is pretty close. They could probably cover that in a single season 3. But you notice, starting with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the length of each book more than doubles, which is where they need to start using 2 seasons to cover the events of each book. They might try to cram Goblet of Fire into a single season 4, or just give it a slightly longer episode run, but the Order of the Phoenix would probably be season 5 and season 6, Half-Blood Prince would probably be season 7 and season 8, and then obviously Deathly Hallows would be season 9 and season 10. That could wind up changing a little, like they could always wind up doing 11 seasons and use 2 seasons for Goblet of Fire, but this is just the beginning. They only have a loose plan for how long they'll spend on each season. Like, remember, we're talking 10 years into the future now. A lot can change in 10 years. The original actors, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, as well as the other actors, have talked about how they feel about them doing a reboot in the past. Most of them, like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, have said they never plan on coming back as the characters in new movies set later in the timeline. But both of them have said,
never?
oh, we do know that they'll eventually reboot the movies. It's just a reality. Like, it doesn't bother us that much.
So yeah, it was a very good 10 years.
So they don't care quite as much about them actually rebooting their characters. Rupert Grint, though, was like one of the 3 mains who was like, oh yeah, totally, yeah, I would love to come back and do an older version.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Daniel Radcliffe with Harry Potter is like, I can't think of his name right now for Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, whatever. Is that his name? Yeah, I think it's Hugh Jackman. But I can't see nobody else playing Wolverine because I can't see no one else playing Harry Potter.
Version of Ron. But it doesn't really make sense to do that unless you also get the older Daniel Radcliffe to do older Harry Potter and Hermione to come back. Before all this happened, a lot of us had way tamer theories about their Harry Potter series plans. Most of us had assumed that they would do a series set during a different part of the timeline, like a Marauder series, because they could still feature most of the major characters from the main series like Voldemort, Dumbledore, just as younger versions of the characters. That's kind of what they did with the Fantastic Beasts movie. Like, they kind of slowly turned into Dumbledore movies, even though they didn't start out that way. A lot of us also thought that they might do a Severus Snape series or a Young Voldemort series, or they go way back.
I would love to get a Voldemort
series about the 4 founders of Hogwarts: Godric Gryffindor, Helga Hufflepuff, Rowena Ravenclaw, and Salazar Slytherin. One of the important details, though, is that J.K. Rowling will not be writing all the episodes herself. They'll actually have teams of experienced showrunners and show writers actually working on the series, and she'll just get approval on scripts, which is kind of how the situation with the original Harry Potter movie writing went, where she didn't do the bulk of the writing of the movies herself. She just approved a lot of their scripts. When they got to the Fantastic Beasts movie, though, they actually did let her write most of those movies, which is why the movies felt a little bit weaker, because
that might be why Fantastic Beasts ain't good, bro. You can write books, you can write novels great, but you can't make screenplays great.
She's amazing at writing novels. Like, the original Harry Potter books are amazing books, but she's not a great screenwriter. So I'm glad that they're going back to the old method of writing the episodes for the series. I think that'll just ultimately lead towards better quality actual episodes. But according to J.K. Rowling, they are still making new Harry Potter movies, and all of our theories have now been flipped. And now the new movies are going to be telling stories that are jumping around in the timeline. J.K. Rowling was kind of non-committal when asked about which events the next movies would cover. Warner Brothers already said that they don't have any more Fantastic Beasts movies in development, so that franchise is basically dead with the last Fantastic Beasts movie. And it sounds like they'll do Marauders movies, a Founders series of movies, events like that. Or they go full Star Wars and try to do events much later in the timeline, much longer after the main characters have passed away. House of the Dragon is doing this for Game of Thrones right now, but just as HBO's series, like their only series. They haven't announced Game of Thrones movies or anything like that, just jumping around in the timeline. I just did another video for that Game of Thrones, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms trailer, which they also released when they released this Harry Potter reboot trailer. Like, there were a bunch of different series they all announced at the same time with trailers. They did just bring back the entire Harry Potter cast from the movies for a reunion special on HBO Max a little while ago, but that was more of a glorified behind-the-scenes featurette, kind of like the cast of a Friends reunion. They didn't come back to do a new movie or a new episode. They just sat around and talked about the movies like a longer version of a Blu-ray DVD special feature. Because they just announced the full series had been greenlit, it's going to be at least 2025 before they can start getting episodes out. They haven't announced any kind of casting yet, who's going to be playing all the characters, but there could be some of the original movie actors returning in different roles because they're obviously much older now, so they'd have to be playing different characters.
Dan, you recently gave an interview on a podcast where you said if you ever went back to Harry Potter, you would play another character like Sirius Black or something. Yeah. How long after the podcast went live did a producer call you to see if you were serious?
Get cable-free live TV.
Why would he play a different role?
Long-term contracts.
If you're a fan of the DC series, they did this with stuff like...
Live, did a producer call you to see if you were serious?
If you're a fan of the DC series, they did this with stuff like the Flash series in modern day, where they had John Wesley Shipp from the...
Yeah, but none of us knew he played Flash. Like, if you're like under 30, you're not going to know he played Flash in the 90s. That's different. People, even little kids now, know who Harry Potter looks like, bro. It's going to look weird.
90s Flash series come back as Barry's father. So they could bring back some of the original actors just playing slightly different characters. But the thing is, obviously, it hasn't been that long. That's why a lot of fans got upset, because it's literally like right after they finished the movies. It hasn't been that long. Usually when they reboot movies, and Warner Brothers did just announce that they're rebooting the original Lord of the Rings movies with new movies, usually they wait more than 20 years before trying to reboot things.
Yes.
Like, we're not talking about Spider-Man here at Sony. That's the best example of them rebooting stuff right away, with them rebooting from Tobey Maguire into Andrew Garfield, and then very quickly, soon after, into the Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. Everybody's now hoping for Harry Potter into the Potterverse, where like all the different characters come and they just say that they all happen in different universes, where like Daniel Radcliffe comes back with whatever new version of Harry Potter they wind up casting. The funny thing about that is that Daniel Radcliffe is like a hardcore Star Wars fan, a lot of these other franchises, so it would be funny to see him pop up in like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie. One of the reasons why you don't see that happening, though, Emma Watson, too, is because they made so much money on Harry Potter. They're so iconic as those characters. They don't feel like they need to do movies just for the paycheck, like you would get giant paychecks for these big comic book movies or big Star Wars movies. So it just enables them to be a little more selective with their roles and just do weirder stuff because they already have giant piles of money. Which is how you get Daniel Radcliffe playing a farting corpse. And the funny thing about that movie, big coincidence here, is that the directors of that farting corpse Daniel Radcliffe movie are actually the directors who made Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was fantastic. Everybody let me know in the comments, though, like, what do you want them to do for this new 10-year long plus Harry Potter series? Who do you want them to cast for actors? It's still a little bit early to start talking about who they're going to cast, but obviously there'll be much younger versions of the characters. And as for the Lord of the Rings reboot movies, they haven't released any kind of teaser or trailer for that yet, so it sounds like it's going to be much longer before those start releasing. Elijah Wood also kind of did the same thing, like the Daniel Radcliffe thing, where you're asked about how you feel about the reboot, like, they're rebooting the Lord of the Rings movies. What do you think about this?
I mean, we can get anybody to play Frodo. His is an iconic role, yes, but not like how Harry Potter is. Harry Potter is recognized all over the world. I don't think Lord of the Rings is recognized all over the world, all walks of life, all different type of backgrounds. Harry Potter is. I don't care who you are, you know who Harry Potter is.
He was actually pretty nice about it. Like, oh, I knew they would reboot them eventually. I hope they do a good job. Hope this isn't a big cash grab. So with any luck, they'll actually spend the time that they need to make this Harry Potter series actually be good. Otherwise, that next 10 years would be a slog. But like I said, because they just started, they're going to be writing scripts now, starting actual work on the series. It'll take them a couple years before you actually get episodes. So it'll actually be a good long while before we actually get the next real trailer. I'll probably wait till we start getting really big announcements or like really big trailers before I start doing some more videos. But leave all your requests in the comments below if you have any special questions about what's going on.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't think we should get a Harry Potter, at least not now. I still think it's too soon. Like, Daniel Radcliffe is only in his 30s. Emma Watson, everybody's in their 30s. Now, I can see something happening like in the 2030s, 2040s. But right now, like, I still, I still watch the Harry Potter movies on HBO Max. Like, you didn't do that with Star Wars. The Star Wars came out, what, the 70s, early 80s? Then they ain't bring them back until 2009. Not 2009. What was it? 1999. But they didn't redo Star Wars. They continued on the story. They're trying to just, okay, get rid of Daniel Radcliffe. Let's do a whole new one. No, just add on to the story. Why do we got to reboot it? This isn't like Spider-Man and Batman you could reboot because they're superhero movies. So yeah, this is such an iconic role. I wouldn't touch it. I mean, I'll watch it when it comes out to see how it is. But let me know y'all thoughts.